This is my video for completing the 5th week of my CrossFit challenge, and I'm noticing that my body is definitely getting accustomed to this type of training. Earlier on in my lower back, I was feeling some pain, and my hip area was very tight. Just last week when I was discussing that with stretching, I'm noticing that even when I'm exercising, I'm much more focused about how I should be positioning my body and making these subtle shifts as I'm doing the exercises. So that's been really helpful. Yeah, there's a little bit of psychology around that as well. I'm noticing that certain exercises that I haven't done before, I'm very apprehensive to try it, or I automatically think that I have too much weight or I'm pushing myself too hard. So that's definitely something that's come up this week in terms of allowing myself to push myself a little bit, to know the difference of what is pain out of injury and what is just a little bit of pain because of your body doing motions that it hasn't done before, or that you're doing the motion slightly off the way it should be done. So I'm focusing on that, and an example of that is in class yesterday we did an upward press with not that much weight. It was 65 pounds, that's including the bar. And in the class I noticed the other guys all had the same amount of weight, and in my head I was thinking, oh, they've been doing this much longer than I have, why am I doing the same amount of weight as them? And so I kind of got into my head, and I was aware that I was doing that. But I did the first round, and the first round started off fine, and then I stopped. And when I stopped and started up again, I felt a slight tinge of pain in my left shoulder. So once I started feeling that, my mind directly went to, oh, I should be doing less weight than what I'm doing. But I finished that round, and then when I got to the next round, I started off and I felt the pain again. So I called over to the trainer and I was just like, should I change it? And he said, no, not within the workout. And then sure enough, my last set with that, I didn't feel the pain. So I think as I was doing it at the end of that second round, I started noticing that I just needed to adjust. I think I was pulling stronger with my dominant side, which for me is the right side. So somehow the movement in my left shoulder wasn't accurate. So like I said, with a little course correction, I started doing that exercise properly, and the pain went away regardless of me changing the weight. So that was an interesting lesson, like a perfect example of knowing for yourself when to push through the pain just because you're doing a lot of reps or an exercise that you're not familiar with, but you're still within the safety zone of the appropriate amount of weight for you. So the psychology is going to come into it. I feel confident with certain exercises that I've done before where I could rely a little bit more on that muscle memory and just go into automatic pilot. I'm finding that it's when I have to focus on these newer exercises, I'm really hyper-focused on certain areas of my body and whether or not it's going to go through the exercise correctly, which is great. It's great to focus on the form, but also too, you don't want to get too much in your head. You want the motion of the exercise to flow as naturally as possible. So sometimes you just have to trust that you're going to be doing it right, or that's what the trainer's there for. The trainer will come over and correct your form or shout out a suggestion on how to modify what you're already doing. So trusting that process has been a fun part of the training as well. And like I said, it's something that I'm aware of. I'm aware of how the mind plays a factor into this, but not to get too caught up in that. And so it's been going strong. I feel like I definitely notice a change in my body, and I feel stronger all over. A lot of these exercises focus on the core, so my core strength has really gotten better. And with that, like I said, the back pain has gone away. Still feel it a little bit the next day after a workout, but not like I was feeling in the beginning. So that's another thing too about like feeling some pain and pushing through it. It's it's just something that you have to go through. Every person is going to have their own elements of what they're used to coping with in terms of physical pain and what they're not. And to understand that doing a workout like this, you are breaking the body down. So you want to break the body down so that it builds up and it gets stronger. So to not get too caught up in avoidance of pain. Definitely you do not want injury, but there's a fine line between avoidance of pain because you're not used to doing an exercise, or that the exercise needs to be corrected and done appropriately. So always check in with yourself with that. Check in with a trainer afterwards too, and just course correct. Thanks.